He got out, went over to them.
All hope is not lost, although sometimes it's like.
Look real good.
At least how much you got Saturday looked real good.
It looked really good. I thought it was a tight read. You know, there's so much stuff.
It might help.
We'll never get that all there. We made it all the way to the That was great.
It's free.
Yeah.
My memory was it was so free on both sides of the river.
The river, right. I looked at some of the footage in the field, rusted through right some always pick that up. But it would make a beautiful thing that would walk out there and look at the street. Right, just for human traffic. Right. I'm not an engineer, but even a lousy steel. Solve that for human traffic. My only concern is it's so open now. Some people maybe venture outside. But I was amazed, like I said, how well it
I knew I saw it.
I had a barricade up. No, I know. When I would give them that layout of train trucks, we weren't supposed to do that. You know, so right, people don't actually really. When I was a kid, I was impressed with everything I done, and everybody was
They made storage rooms.
Two of the storage rooms.
Yeah. Lemon storage. Not really. Well, on the front end, I feel the iodine. But I'm actually I got enough rounds to do. No,
Right.
So they identify closer to the main street.
Right. I tried to take when I lived in
The fact that they were going to close it down, at least reduce it to.
Do we have a?
Anything else happening?
Dinner to go.
Mental, physical, spiritual.
You don't leave.
Yeah, so I think it's hard to know nobody was really like actively and I was
I did that initially too.
No. That's the one.
I got the response.
They're still doing nice things there.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. Because that is something that we can do.
Good, and I do think there's two. Never followed them.
Woody else did.
Drive up there and not
I actually did that.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Madison County Board of Commissioners, a regular business meeting, September 25th, 2023, 6 p.m.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. For some of you that's never joined us before, we do this like a NASCAR race. Mike brings the green flag. Our counsel, when he comes to the door with the green flag, we know it's time to go. Gentlemen, before you, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes from July 31st, 2023 special call meeting, minutes from August 28th, 2023 regular business meeting, minutes from September 7th, 2023 special call meeting, minutes from September 11th, 2023 agenda setting work session, minutes from September 15th, 2023 special call meeting. Please take a look over those. As you know discrepancies, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
It's going to be an efficient night. I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Frank? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Frank? All right. Business involving guest groups or multiple visitors. The library quarterly report, Ms. Turner, if I can ask, I want to skip just for a second because I have somebody here that has to be in another meeting 30 minutes away.
Absolutely.
At 7 p.m. So proclamation for mental health awareness presented to the Friends of Advantage. Mental Health Awareness Week, October 1st to the 7th, 2023. Whereas mental health is a part of our overall health, and whereas 1 in 5 adults experience a mental health problem in any given year, and one in 17 adult lives with mental health illness such as major depression, bipolar disorder, or I can't even pronounce that. Schizophrenia. It sounds easier than it looks. And whereas approximately 1.5 of our chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14 and 3/4 by the age of 24. And whereas long days, sometimes decades, often occur between the time symptoms first appear and when individuals get help. And whereas early indications and treatments can make a difference in successful management of mental illness and recovery. And whereas it is important to maintain mental health and learn the symptoms of mental illness in order to get help when needed. And whereas every citizen and community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that too long has surrounded mental health illness and discourages people from getting adequate help. And whereas a public education and civic activities can encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Now, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to approve this proclamation.
I make a motion to approve.
Second motion.
Motion by Commissioner Kirk, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Kirk, it's on you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Madison County, Georgia, do hereby proclaim October 1st through the 7th, 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Week in Madison County to increase public understanding and the importance of mental health, promote identification and treatment of mental health illness. So resolved by the Madison County Board of Commissioners on this 25th day, September 2023. Please come forward, young lady. Ladies, sorry.
I'm gonna move the podium so they can take a picture. Maybe just get halfway up.
Let me borrow this. You want to take a picture of this first? You want to stand here?
I'm sure.
Yeah. Mike, get the pic.
I got it, Mikey was hiding.
All right.
Okay, good.
Now, come on, guys.
Hard for me to do that. Which one?
Y'all coming? Come on. Stand up. Teamwork, come on. That's an important topic. Oh, really? Okay. I'll be in the middle.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, Brian Kirk,
What?
we can't see you.
Well, look, here,
All these tall
There you
people.
go, that's good.
we'll get out of order. How about we do this? Can you see Frank? Cause he's
No, I
taller.
can't see Frank or Karen.
That's good. Well, what you wanna do?
All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, got it.
You can.
I'd like to thank our Madison County Commissioners for your investment in this very special week. I know that it can actually impact a life. It can actually save a life with the willingness of you all to include us in this. I do want to say that as Anchor International Coordinator, I have charged the anchors throughout the nation with mental health awareness as their project for 23 and 24. I am most proud of Madison County. Dr. Black, Sharon Black here leads our anchors at the Madison County High School, and they are on the ball. They have partnered with our Pilot Club, which, as most of you know, sponsors the Anchor Club Youth Leadership, and they have together united to host our very first mental health awareness walk on Sunday, October 22nd at 3 p.m. at the Madison County High School track field. I invite all of y'all to come out and join us. There's going to be Mark, Madison Area Resource Team, has participants that are going to come and table resources. We have faith-based community that's coming with bouncy houses and cotton candy and chips, but most of all the information and just to meet people where they are without judgment and help them be the best that they can be in their journey in mental illness that they face. So this means a lot to me. I appreciate the chairman and commission for taking the time to do this, and it's very impactful nationwide. So thank you so very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We ready?
Ms. Alita, thank you for saying that. I think it's going to be in Bowman at a city hall meeting in a little while, so.
Understood. Good evening. So what I've just given her is really the July meeting or July notes, excuse me. And here we are at the end of September. It's almost time for the next quarter, so I'm just going to mention a few things out of that, keep it short, and then go on from there. The Comer Lions Club gave us a $200 gift with which we were able to buy STEM materials, and we're using that in our weekly STEM programs. That was a wonderful gift. It's really helped us. Over the summer, we had a couple teen murder mystery nights, which were very successful. Kids loved it. The second one actually was one of the really stormy evenings we had. The power went out, and the kids just thought it added to the whole atmosphere. In October, we're going to have another murder mystery night because it was just staff news, we have had one library assistant leave for another position elsewhere, and so we've replaced her with another assistant. And finally, as far as those go, the Mark was able to purchase a webcam for us, which has improved the quality of our hybrid meetings. So when we have virtual events, that camera is a lot better than what we did have previously. We appreciate that very much. Some highlights going forward. Over the summer, we had over 330 participants in our summer reading program. We've done a number of outreach events since July, including the Mart Back to School Rally, the Colbert Hygiene Fair with MedLink, and the Foothills Community Resource Night, amongst others. I would like to thank the county very much for all the work that's been done on the building in recent months. Gutter cleaning, HVAC work, and all the plumbing work. The plumbing issues took a couple weeks to get fully resolved, and we very much appreciate the due diligence, most especially on the parts of TC and Joey, who both put in a lot of work to make it happen. We appreciate that. This month is National Library Card Sign-Up Month, and we're doing a promotion called Score Big with Your Library Card. We have 4 prize baskets that are generally sports and tailgate themed. I would like to invite the Board of Commissioners to participate by starting and renewing your library card, posting about the promotion on social media, or referring a friend. And we are running this through this end of this month, so through Saturday. And I would like to note that we very much appreciate the generous donations we've received from several sponsors in the county, including Black Sheep Diner, Madison County High School, Madison County Recreation Department, Golden Pantry, and several others. Not a complete list. And finally, not to take too much time, some upcoming events in October. We're going to have a blood drive on the 5th. I'd like to invite y'all to a couple author events we're going to have on October 14th. We'll have Lauren Whalen and local author Lilla Lawson talking about their new book, Tomorrow and Tomorrow. On October 15th, John Barton of the Madison County Heritage Foundation is going to give a talk on a primer of the history of Madison County. I'm very much looking forward to learning more about that. And finally, on October 22nd, our Friends of the Library will have their general meeting, including an author talk from another local author named Sarah Baker, talking about her book, The Timekeeper's Son. I invite you to any or all of those as you are able to come.
Thank you very much for those young ladies.
Thank you.
Rounding out the business involving guest groups is Danielsville Fire Chief Mark Perry and Shiloh Fire Chief Bush McDuffie. I also see Jason Austin and Collins over there hiding in the corner. Jackson. By the way, for any of you in the room that don't know these 4 guys, please take an opportunity to meet them. We're very thankful for what they do for us.
Of course, we're here tonight to talk about a fire training facility. And I think the first time I came before the Board of Commissioners was during Sammy Haggard's time. It was for $300. It's going to be a little more tonight. I've been a little apprehensive about it, but, we're all volunteer fire, volunteer rescue. When the pager goes off, you don't have any idea what it's going to be. And there's no such thing as a routine call. That's the ones that get you hurt. The ones that you think are routine. This has been my hobby for the last 50 years, is being involved in this, and I've had a lot of opportunities to learn a lot of things and tried to share those with other people, but it takes a lot. The fire service in Madison County was around 200 or a little over for a long time, and COVID came along, and it's about 150. And recruiting and retaining volunteers is a national crisis. It's not just in Madison County. It's everywhere. You know, when in 1970s, there wasn't much going on in Madison County. There's a lot of other things for young people to do now that there weren't then, and at that time we probably had 100 calls a year, and now it's 700 calls a year, and none of them are the same. 40 years ago, we had a man trapped in a grain bin, and fortunately, we had a training just prior to that, just a few months before that. Progressive farmer put on a class here in the county, and had one since, but you may have one tomorrow. We still train for it. We had a training last year for grain bins. You don't ever expect it to be to get a call on 3 people trapped on the 7th floor of a power plant under construction, or a fire on top of a 100-foot grain bin at the poultry feed mill. And you don't ever know who you're going to be with when you get to that call. It's not like a paid fire department where you're in a station and you're with the same people every third day, and you know what you can expect out of them and what their strong points are and things. You know, if it goes off in the middle of the night, you know you're going to have a lot of people. If it goes off in the middle of the day, you'll take what you get. You're going to keep calling till you get enough or you get over it. So we have quite a few things. ISO, of course, is what your insurance services, what your insurance premiums are based on. We have some excellent fire insurance classifications in the county that save the taxpayers a tremendous amount of money on property insurance. And but you know, they require us to have 16 hours of structural fire control training in a year's time, and that's every that whole 150 people to get the credit for that. Standards and training requires you to have 24 hours a year, and the firefighter's pension plan requires you to offer 8 hours a month, and the participants have to make half of that in a combined effort. But anyway, so there's a great need for people to be able that just come off the street and volunteer to be a fireman and to get some training up front. But we need to be able to continue that and enhance it and try to make it safe for everybody that's participating, and everybody gets to go home in one piece. And we've visited around, so this has been a dream before COVID, though, because a lot of the funding that would be used for this is a result of that. And the county's been broke ever since I talked to Sammy Haggard 50 years ago. And this is the first time that there's been an opportunity to even, pursue this. But we've been working on it for the last few months and visiting around the different training facilities and looking at what they liked about theirs and didn't like about theirs, and what they learned by mistake, and we really not learn that way and take what they've done. So we've got a little presentation, and Butch is going to go through the slide presentation and talk to you, and we hope you'll be able to support the effort.
Thank you, sir. And Butch, you couldn't tell, but he was really wanting to put all that on you, but I thought he did a great job.
Mark does a fine job. See, he's put 50 years in the fire service in this county. He's done a lot for this county. And I appreciate y'all taking the time. And again, thank you for the support you've already provided us as volunteer firefighters. Like Mark said, you won't find better people in this county that'll get up out of their bed in the middle of the night to go help somebody they don't even know. And from who they are, where they are, what they're doing. They just go out there to help because somebody needs help. we have the best folks in the county that get up in the mornings and every day and do this. But we do. We need a facility where our folks can train and learn to work better together. And that's one of the big things that came up. What Mark said, there's been a lot of talk about this over the years, and it's coming around where it's time for it to happen. One thing I would like to add to what Mark said is that it's those hours that we need every year from the ISO. It's actually 18 hours a year of facility training. They don't count the car fire stuff that we do, or the pressurized container class, or stuff that we do in our departments on Tuesdays or Thursday nights or Monday nights, whatever departments are beaten. They don't count that at all. We have to go to another facility somewhere outside of this county to get those hours. And because of that, a lot of our individuals lose out on that opportunity because they got work, school, mama, kids, church, and everything else they got to deal with. And they're only giving the fire department 8 hours a month, and they're trying their best to do that. Some do more, some do less. It just, I tell the folks, it's volunteer. You come when you can, and I'm glad to have you when you get there. So, but again, appreciate y'all listening to us for that. Y'all got the letters. We have already been in contact, like Mark said. We've been to about 5 or 6 different places. I took over 300 pictures. Jason and Jackson and some other folks went out with us to try, and Mark, we went around the state looking at different facilities. So we've got some good ideas. We think we have a very good plan of something, a facility that will work for Madison County and work for Madison County for the next 2 or 3 decades. These facilities are designed to be burnt in and worked in every day, every week, over and over again. And with you do that across our county, the way we train and work as volunteers, I think the longevity of the facility itself will actually be extended. So if you don't mind, Christine, this is the front page picture of our presentation. This is a similar facility that we're talking about. We're talking about Connex facilities. There's lots of different kinds of facilities, but we're looking at prefab Connex facilities. There are multiple companies around the country that make these. We've been in contact with many of those, and so we've come up with that. All right. Why isn't it? We don't have a place to train right now. This is what the need is. We don't have a place where we can train together on automatic aid. Like Mark said, we show up at 3 o'clock in the morning. We back each other up with automatic aid. We get there. It might be 3 or 4 from Danielsville, 3 or 4 from Shiloh, 2 or 3 from Iowa, whatever it might be. And of course, y'all know we're hauling water too. So about half them people wind up hauling water, and the other half wind up fighting fire. So we need to know how we can work together when we get there. We train as an organization, train as a group. That way we all work together. When we do our volunteer program, our volunteer class, we have people, we finished one back in April of this year. We started with 20 people, we graduated 17, which is pretty good for a volunteer program to do 130 hours of training on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays for 3 months. Well, those folks came from 7 different departments around this county. And we did some training at Shiloh, we did some training over in Athens, we did some training at other places. But we don't have a good place to do this together. Then automatic aid makes us work out. There you're good, that's fine. I was right into it, perfect time. It makes us better firefighters, it does. That makes us better firefighters, it makes us do things, and be able to practice those emergency response practices together. So when I get there, I know if I have to ask somebody to do something, that person's trained the way we need that person to be trained to do it. And it's the same across all our departments. All right. And what does that do? It makes our firefighters safer. It makes our community safer. When we get there and get water on the fire or get a search done inside a property that needs to be searched because there might be somebody trapped inside, we need to know that everybody knows what's going on. We're going to make this community safer by having better training in a better facility. This facility could be used by other potential services too. EMS, law enforcement. This is a facility that can be multi-purpose. So if the Sheriff's Department wanted to come out and do some searches or some breaching training or things like that, or EMS wanted to come out and do some stuff on hazards and how to get people out of certain situations or whatever, we could share this facility and help them and not have to construct a secondary facility for those type of needs. And at the bottom line, what's it do? It gives savings to our taxpayers. Because when we can work together, we can improve our ISO ratings, and of course we can decrease losses, make our responses better, and make those ISO ratings better, so then everybody's property insurance values, or assessments, I should say, not values, premiums. You get the right word out there. All right. Basically, what the building would have, it'd be a burning, again, this is an example building. This one was recently built up in Franklin County. It's a little bit smaller than what we're anticipating, but they have different needs. We're gonna have to have the building and tower, we're gonna have to have a training room, gotta have a classroom, gotta have restroom facilities. You can't just put some Connex boxes out in the field so y'all go play over there. You gotta have support facilities to go along with it. Covered training area, storage, and a new breathing apparatus, breathing air machine. You can't fight fire if you ain't got air to breathe. We put them packs on our back, they run dry. They gotta be filled back up. Some improved parking, and of course, we felt it should be fenced and has to be elevated lighting around the exterior of the perimeter. This is just a basic mock-up of what we thought a site layout might be. You know, basically a classroom on one side, some storage on one side, concrete around the building, driveway, POV, parking, and stuff like that. So that was just an example layout. As we get further in this process, this would become more defined. This is a conceptual design that we've been working with a company that builds these containers out of Arizona. We've determined them, we believe they're the best company to go with based upon the assessments that we've already been working on. Basically, what we're looking at is 3 Connex boxes across the bottom, 2 Connexes, 40-foot boxes on the bottom, and we'll go through this. The second level will be a 40-footer and a 20-footer. You'll be able to burn in each of you have a burn chamber at each of these levels. One of our tasks that we have to do for our firefighter evaluations is you have to do an above grade and a below grade fire attack. So you have to go up some stairs, you got to come down some stairs. But you got to have a building to burn, you know, that you burn a room, you can burn into both of them. Then the third level is more space for training and searching, and the 4th level, which basically is the rooftop level, would be where we would set up to do our rescue, where we set up our rope platforms, where we set up our plans so we could raise and lower people and Stokes baskets, and or rappel down or climb up the side of a tower or something like that. We need to have it. Of course, we want it to be covered as well. If you jump to the next one there, it's just, this is a different view there in the bottom left corner of that there, I guess how you're looking at it there. That's a roof simulator. That's above the burn room. We have to go on top of the roof sometimes. Sometimes we have to cut holes in roofs. You have to be able to do that and practice that in a live fire environment, because when you open up a hole in the roof and you got pressurized heat and smoke and stuff like that inside of a structure, it comes up with some force and some heat. So you got to learn how to do that properly so you can keep yourself from getting hurt. Next slide, please. Now, all these rooftop spaces too were around the handrails. Those are all workable spaces where we can work off those spaces, throw ladders up on one side, throw ladders up on the other side, teach people how to do this. So this would be another view of the building with a rappel tower and a rappel wall on the back side. Of course, y'all notice there's stairs all the way to the top on the exterior of the building. There's also stairs on the interior all the way to the top. Next, please. This is how your first floor would be kind of set up. Basically, what you're seeing in the bottom center portion there, that's your burn chamber. Basically, the burn chamber is a room. It's built like an oven. It's got about an 8-inch wall. It's got insulation all the way around it, top and bottom, concrete tiles in the floor, and that way you can burn in there and not hurt your structure. The building would come with thermal monitoring systems that go with it, so you know how to keep your heat going so you don't overheat your building and don't burn your building up. The next 2 areas in the building, there's some wall simulators where you have to do wall breaching. There's some maze panels in there. Those are all interchangeable. So when you have to go in there and move around and search, you do this blind, basically full of smoke, or we face a vision obscured. You know, it's a mouse in a maze, that kind of thing sometimes. You got to figure your way out. Next one, please. Second level, of course, there's that rooftop simulator just above the burn building. Access to the inner stairwell there. Another burn box that's on the back side of the building, so you can get in there and attack fire from that side. Next level is just 2 20-foot containers. Another access to the interior. Another maze system to go through. All right. And then the top is where we have a rooftop level where we set up our rigging and stuff like that, so we can do our technical rescue type stuff. Then back to that, and that's kind of what your whole system looks like there. Next one there, and there's kind of just give you another view. There's a number of containers you got, basically 6 containers, 3 40-footers, 3 20-footers, and some and all the stairs and things like that that go along with it to make it safe for us to work on it while we're out there. Location. There's been some talk about location. I know the county's got some property available across, from the rec department off Highway 98. They're in the area where the jail is. And there's some other property that's over off of Carver-Dangersville Road in the area of the transfer center. We've been having some discussions. We think one of those properties could be appropriate, that we'd leave that up. We'd have to go from this point, if this program process is approved to move forward. I think we probably want to set up a committee and figure out how to move forward with that, how we select those properties. Budget. We're looking at about a $1,180,000 budget overall. The structure itself that I've just described to you is about a $650,000 building. Classroom, we figure we get a sheet metal building with some heating and air in it and some tables and chairs and stuff like that. Power, so we can do our classrooms. We probably do that for about $75,000. A storage building where we keep our equipment, our ladders, our hoses, things like that, that will remain at the training center, and our air compressor that we'd have to go into a storage building. A lot of concrete in it, probably about, I think we came up with a 40 to 50 foot platform all the way around the building, and in that aspect, so we came up with about $250,000 for that. Water utilities, other improvements was about $130,000 for our estimates, and we had about a $50,000 contingency fund in this particular scenario. Conclusion, hey, the better fire departments, the better volunteer fire departments we got, the more money we can save our taxpayers. We save our taxpayers. Just in salaries alone, we've done the math on it, and we've probably saved the county well over $1 million a year in salaries alone. We've been doing some stuff with the comp plan stuff that we're working on. FEMA says a volunteer is worth about $30 an hour. And we know that we do probably 10,000 hours or better a year when you put everything together. You put all these departments together, all the calls, all the training and stuff like that. You're seeing a lot of bang for your buck by supporting your volunteer fire departments. We need a facility that we can train in. It's just the bottom line. The time has come. We need one where we can work locally and not have to go borrow somebody else's facility in another county because we can't do it. We've got some of the greatest equipment around. I go all over the state teaching and training with the Georgia Fire Academy in my part-time job. And I see career departments that can't hold a candle to what we do here in Madison County. And we need to keep it that way because it keeps our people safe. It just, bottom line, it benefits us and it gives us better ISO ratings. So with that, we'd be happy to try to answer any questions you folks might have.
Christina, can you back up a couple? I'm going to start out with a couple questions, only because there's some information that we've all had conversations, but the Board of Commissioners hasn't. Back up to the pricing sheet. There you go. So one of the things that the Board of Commissioners, I feel like, need to know is each fire department, all 11 plus rescue, has committed to $15,000 a piece that they would go towards this. So the 180 pretty much goes away. We're looking at about $1 million project. Now, what we've talked about is the location, for instance. We feel that the transfer station location is the best because geographically from all the departments, it's sort of the center distance for everybody. There would need to be an intergovernmental agreement, which I've already spoke to the mayor in Danielsville, and we could probably work something out with that because that's city water, but it's nothing more than we'll meter it in and we'll give it back to them on the county side. Not a big hold up there. Cities behind it, they love it. Every city I've talked to loves it. Obviously, they don't have the funds to help us, but one thing I'd like to make sure that the newspaper understands that this is an opportunity for us to use those ARPA funds. A perfect opportunity for ARPA funds. So we all as tax dollars, it comes out of our pocket one way or the other, but it sure is nice to be able to say that we took a federal dollar and administered it to a local problem for the first time in history, like Mark said. It's not been able to do that. This is not coming out of the guy that lives in Carlton's property tax. It's not coming out of the guy that lives in Hull's property tax. But the reason I asked to bring that sheet back up is because what they're asking is, will we commit to basically $1 million? Now, we will handle, along with working with the fire departments as the construction bills. If we commit $1 million and we come in at 800, well, then it's just 800. If we do the grading, will help us some. If we do the concrete, it'll help us some. There's parts in this that we could potentially save money on. But the upfront notion that I would like to see the board, because I'm very passionate about this. This was something I went to those guys and said, hey, we need to do this. But I heard that when I was campaigning. We need a training facility. And I said, we'll see what we can do. And then, lo and behold, federal dollars fell from the heavens, and I feel like it was a good reason to use it. Probably the best reason I know of today to be able to use it. And that's what I wanted to explain to the Board of Commissioners. So anything as far as building this goes will be done through the courthouse. In other words, we'll go out for the RFPs or needs to be, or if we need to get cost estimates from different contractors for concrete, we'll do that. But I also got to make mention of what Jason and Jackson's done along with several other fire departments, because y'all's due diligence has played a big part in this presentation tonight that Bush and Mark put together. And I want to say thank you, because y'all did do a lot of this. And the travel time that you spent away from your families putting numbers together for us. Those times at 5 a.m. that you got to run, but I still got to be at work at 8. Guys, you got it covered. I'm going to go. That's stuff that we're all actually repaying, and we're fortunate enough to be able to do it a different way. If this board chooses to, I do feel like the board is comfortable with wanting to do the project. I just don't know to what extent.
Just one question. So, the building itself, what's the lead time on, like, if we say that we're going to do this to?
12 to 16 months
Okay.
from the issue of PO.
Okay, so that's the building part of it?
Right, and
then-
this building actually comes turnkey. They bring it in, it's built in their facility in Arizona. They bring it in on trucks. Prior to the arrival, some concrete foundations have to be placed. And they come in and they put the building up, they set the building up. They said the building can literally be set up in 3 days' time and ready to go.
So
It's a turnkey.
okay, so if they bring that in, I guess what, we would need to have the actual area, though, that the building's going to be sitting on completed.
Site
before they-
grading,
yeah,
site grading.
All that would have to be done.
Just the site grading and the pillars for the building itself.
Right.
I mean, classroom, the rest of that's concrete, that all would come.
But
That's part of it.
what you're telling me is actually putting the structure on there is a very short period of time, so.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
But if we were to proceed with this project, though, we could go ahead with the classroom building, we could go ahead with the storage building.
Oh, yeah.
And not have something, the facility moving forward.
Right.
You know, and then have the concrete pad, the parking area, a fire hydrant, in position, ready, so that the crane comes in, sets the building up, and hypothetically, within a week's time, y'all could be in operation.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And they completely assemble that building at their factory.
Yeah.
Put it together, and they take it back apart, bring it in, set it with a crane. We'd have the piers and all for it to set on ready, you know, at that time. But any other, you know, the main thing, we gotta have that ready, because they'll charge you for storing it if it's not ready for
Yeah.
delivery.
Yeah.
They're anxious for their part too. But, any other stuff that we could be doing in that time,
It expedites the process.
yeah, that's right. We wanna make sure that we didn't, squeeze the crane or anything, but other than that, there's no reason not to do that.
Okay. So, first of all, big gratitude to y'all for what you do. That's huge. And, really grateful. I think this is a good idea. I like to say that my bells went ringing when I heard you talking about what the building was gonna look like, and you mentioned the lights. Throughout the Madison County Comprehensive Plan, we talked a lot about the lights, and we made a request to include in the plan, and sadly, I don't believe that it made it in the plan, as of things that we requested, as a lot of people were interested in having low caps shields around all the lights, that come into Madison County. And I could see this as a great opportunity for us to start, moving forward with our development in the county, with putting those little shields around the lights, not expensive, not, you know, any change for your light system, but just helps us be able to see the stars still. So, thank
You got a great point.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ma'am,
We need light on the ground anyway.
Catherine Stetson, thank you.
Just so you know, young lady, it was not in the plan.
Yeah, I
We just
know.
never got there.
Right.
But I think everybody at this table has a consensus to say, yes, we're gonna have to get a lighting plan.
I think most
Everybody else
people
has
did.
one. It's simple. It's just one of those list items that we just ain't got to, but we do recognize that we are gonna have one.
This could be a great trendsetter, you know, a county building of that size with no added cost.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
Something else I just wanted to update all the commissioners on and the fire chiefs that are here. With the projects we talked about for the 2024 capital project, we have talked to a timber harvester and a forester and the county surveyor for those 2 tracts of land to be surveyed and a quote to have those properties clear cut. So one, we can see the actual layout of the land and what we're working with. So that, we've already started that process.
Well, that process started due to the potential move of the road department.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily, we didn't go ahead of y'all on the fire structure.
No.
But it was gonna be one of those 2 locations anyway. We tried to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah. So if you look on page 2, this is numbers 1 through 4 is what they're actually proposing for the board to take action on tonight.
Christina, correct me or refresh my memory, but I wanna say that we went ahead and put this in the capital outlay that we voted on.
Yes,
As a contingent.
the board of
It's already in the
commissioners
budget.
they allocated $1 million on July the 18th at a board retreat, and they listed the fire training facility specifically, July 31st in a special call meeting, or no, a regular business meeting, sorry.
Anybody have questions for Butch or Mark or Jason or Jackson, either one?
Yeah, I can't let Butch get away without some trouble.
Good job.
Fully support, but help walk me through, just out of some curiosity questions, like annual operating costs or work that, you know, that the board may be expected to put forth on an annual basis. For example, you know, you got water to fight fires, you got whatever the fuel source may be. I don't know if it's, you know, a tank with diesel or natural gas.
This is a pallet, it's a wood burning.
Okay.
That's what it would be. Most of the time you get those pallets donated and stuff. As far as water, I wouldn't be able to give you an estimate on that this time. I know it wouldn't be a huge amount, but.
But you got some areas that, I mean, like the practice roof, you chop it up, I mean, that's what.
Yeah.
Cheap plywood, I'm just trying to get
We all do that, right? We all come up with that kind of stuff ourselves right now, I'm sure. I mean, it's, what's a pallet load OSB cost these days?
Well, a lot of times you can go by Home Depot and get a whole pallet that's damaged.
Yeah.
They will donate that to you.
I would think that those costs would be really significant in the overall. I mean, it might be a little bit of electricity or.
You're gonna have a base power bill.
Yeah, base power bill, that kind of stuff.
Put some thought into that, just out of curiosity, I mean.
We can work into
just
that.
for some general understanding. The other 2 questions I had were, and people don't think I'm crazy. I have no grand illusion that we have paid fire department for a long time, if ever. So don't get, but I've also had the thoughts and discussed with a few people every once in a while that if we had maybe a paid chief or a paid secretary or somebody that could help collect, you know, the training records, you know, be some sort of administrative staff. I say all that to say is, and we don't have to go build it tomorrow, but in our planning and thought process and area that we may need, if y'all could put together, you know, if there's any additional thought process that, you know, should we put up 2 small offices on the back of that training room? Just, I mean, you build a bathroom, it's gonna have power, you know, do you go ahead and just, again, not trying to run prices up to date, but just trying to think long-term, so when the Bushes of the world, when the Mark Perrys of the world, you know, the rest of the team, again, having trouble getting people to volunteer, if we have to get to the point where that we need 1 or 2 staff people to, you know, help code enforcement. I mean, it could be a variety of things that y'all do, you know, a fire marshal, you know, review plans. Do we need to, should we consider that, and if so, what that might look like? So if y'all put a little thought on that, I'd love to hear that. And then the other thing would be, you mentioned the comments, or the part of the bullet points was, you know, savings to the taxpayer, you know, whether it's directly from, you know, an ISO rating that may or may not change, we understand that, but, you know, higher than that is the safety of our personnel. But out of curiosity, the trainings that y'all do go to, whether they're here, Athens, Forsyth, whatnot, you know, is there an annual average that each fireman or fire department puts together for a training budget? My point being is, how can we monetize it? Not that it's all money, because we need safety, but, you know, if there's a monetary, some efficiencies that we can gain and just say, hey, because we're doing this now and spending this dollars, our rate of return is going to be, you know, not pay for it, but we get to save a few dollars here instead of sending somebody to Forsyth or to Athens, and we may encourage more people, and it just puts either, you know, $100 per firefighter back in your pocket personally, or collectively in each unit, and that's just one less ham that you got to smoke on fundraising day. I'm just trying to.
Well, I would say one thing, right now, Jackson County wants $1,000 a day to use their burn building. If you gotta get 18 hours of training, you gotta get at least 2, maybe 2.5 days there. And that'd be, if you, per department. Well, think about it, you probably only get in a good day, a good sized class is probably 20 to 30 people. So you do that math on, say, 125, 130 people, you're probably gonna have to go over 4 or 5 times a year. That alone, just to rent that facility, would be, what's that, probably close to $20,000, I think, on top of my head. Savings for going back and forth to Forsyth. We bring a lot of classes in from Forsyth. We don't have a lot of volunteers that have the time or the ability to go out of the county. That's why we miss out on a lot of training right now. We get what we call field delivery classes. We do the 3-hour classes for ropes or ladders or forcible entries in our local departments right now. So there's really not a huge cost that we have for that, because the fire academy puts that stuff on for free. But if you send somebody there, we've sent some folks to Louisiana several years ago to go 5 days for some rope technical rescue training. And I think our cost was, just for the student, was around $1,200 a student, somewhere that far. That's for the class. Plus,
$2,000 a person.
Yeah, plus we had room and board expenses, so $2,000 a person for that. And we could probably come up with some ideas on that, but
it's order of magnitude kind of stuff. Like I said, I you know, fully supportive, but I also think we can build coalition around it, just saying that, you know, if we're saving $20,000 a year just for not going to somewhere else, you know, it's 5 years, that adds up every month.
Well, the big thing is a lot of people don't ever get the opportunity.
Right.
Because they're not available to go to Forsyth or to go out of county, you know, and so they just don't have the exposure. And so for the safety of the people and the interdepartmental training and things, but no volunteers are having their expenses paid by a volunteer fire department to go to Forsyth. They don't turn in any receipts or anything. And so they're doing it on their own.
Jason, you had something?
Yeah, I was just gonna add what Butch was saying. With that field delivery classes that we get, we still don't get credit for that facility training because we don't have a facility. So as those guys come up from Forsyth to give us those 3-hour classes, we can't use that as facility training because Hull Fire Department is not a facility. But if we had that training at that building right there, it then becomes a facility.
Yeah, the ISO says it's gotta be 3 stories tall, a minimum of 32 feet, I think is what it is. 3 stories, 32 feet. There was another point in there, I just lost it, we had it just a second ago. But they put these, it's gotta be 2.5 acres, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's gotta be 2.5 acres, it's gotta be able to function as a fire training facility. And every one of our departments misses out on that. And that alone could make a difference between a 4 and a 5 on your ISO rating.
That's points, yeah.
Good point.
And you know, you're talking about training. I suppose that every department now keeps up their training records. I know Danielsville does individually. And so I assume that as y'all train, those records will still be kept with your departments for right now, but they could be consolidated into.
That's right. Right now, we function as 11 independent departments. So we have to stand on our own in standards and training and ISO.
Right, but you can go and pull that from their website and say, Shallow has had whatever,
And that.
600,
yeah,
800
and for
hours of training this year, that each individual's on there.
And for the board to know, because I realize this, it's a lot of work to keep up with all that training, because you gotta do it, you know, for the state and for everybody else. And so y'all got programs and all that kind of stuff that all this is documented with, so, you know, as far as if anybody wanted to go and see exactly what's being done down there, that would be.
Please come out,
easily
I'd be
taken
happy
care
to show it to you.
Yeah.
Hours of training, hours of time go into managing a fire department, has nothing to do with the training or the response to calls. It's hours and hours every week.
Well, I believe, number one, thank you for your service, thank you for your presentation tonight. But I think what we need to do as the BOC is now that we're starting to see some real numbers associated with the cost of the fire training center, we should give consideration to the dollar amount that we set aside for it. We may need to increase that somewhat because I know from talking with volunteer firemen that $15,000 from every department in the county, some of it's going to stretch.
It will.
And I believe that, honestly, of some of the projects and all, and Christina can research the dollars that we set aside for everything, this may be one of the, exponentially, this may be one of the things that will benefit the most citizens in the county in the long run. Yeah. So we may need to adjust on our side of the table, we may need to re-examine the dollars that we initially set aside for this.
But
Yes, sir.
As a concerned citizen that's just like with my insurance company on fire protection, have a vested interest in this. Would this facility, or do you have an idea of the improvement of the ISO ratings? That, you know, is there a potential that this will drop a 6 to a 5, or, you know, something like that?
There's definitely a potential there. It would be all, like Mark was saying, we're all individually rated. So I know you were over in the POCA district. But if POCA had all their folks got 18 hours of training in a facility this year, they might get an extra 5 points or 10 points on their ISO. That 5 or 10 points could be the difference between a 5 and a 6. So, but it's very, you know, that formula, they use algebraic formulas that none of us probably can do.
But this should help all of them.
It would help everybody across this county, yes, sir.
ISO based on a 100-point scale. If you score 10 points, you're a 9. If you score 50 points, you're a 5. And that is based on 50% of your score is based on your fire department, 40% is based on your water supply, 10% of it is based on the handling and receiving calls, your 911 system. Our 911 system normally ranks above 9 out of 10 of receiving and handling calls, and that has to do with the number of dispatchers you have on duty, the number of phone lines, all the things about that.
But in terms of water, it's way down. But anyway, this would be a way to boost that. Spend this money rather than we have to put water everywhere.
We've been dividing the money that we get from the county on a formula that you get more money the better your ISO rating is. And we're fairly low, but ISO changes the rules every time they come around. So you don't ever know how you're gonna fare the next time. But every point counts, you know. Comer, when they went from a class 4 to a class 3, they scored 69.5 points the first time, which left them at a 4 by half a point. And they made some water improvements in their downtown district and were able to get over the hump. So if a fire department is at 51 and they need to get to 60, it's a long trip. If you're at 59.5 and need to get to 60, it's not so long. And every piece of hose and every nozzle counts.
When in 2018, Shiloh went from a 4.9 to a 4 district-wide, and we saw some property owners' insurance go down by $1,000 a year in some of our property owners for the premiums.
Before moving on, Terry, do you have any comments?
There's just a couple things, your question. Number one, again, thank y'all for the work that you do. And we as a group have already committed in this direction, and not officially, but as consensus we've committed. Question I have, would it be easier on the volunteer fire departments, and Denny alluded to this, for us to absorb all the construction costs and maybe y'all consider the annual operating cost as part of your budget? Would that be a good trade for y'all?
We have yes, okay. But we have a fire association, and if some years we put, 0.5% of a meal, whatever that amounts to. This year it was $1,020,000, so it would have been $5,000. We usually have a recruit class that costs $3,000 or $4,000. We maintain an air compressor. We do a few other things. If that fund gets down a little bit, we take that share of what's already coming to all the fire departments. If that fund is up, we don't take that share out of the fire department's division of the money. They get it all. If we have an expense or the association gets down, so I don't think it would be an issue for the association to take in that 0.5% or whatever it took to pay the operating cost of the facility.
I'm gonna take the last minute or two, if you have any questions.
I've heard everything I need here. I'm getting, my report.
So the last couple minutes on this, I wanted to touch on what Derek stated, and Derek's 100% correct. I do feel like, I won't beat around the bush about it. We probably will have a few paid firemen in 2 or 3 years. Not meaning that you did, but I'm just trying to throw it out there. We're probably gonna get to that point, because I know your reporting time now, we're gonna end up needing the secretary. We'll work out the details. I do think that meeting room would be a perfect idea, like Derek stated, for that location. I think that's awesome. One of the things that me and you spoke about, Mark, and I would really like to see it go that route, especially if we change up the game a little bit on the funding, was going to the natural gas burn instead of the wood burn. We had talked about that.
Bigger expense.
It's a bigger expense, but then again, like Mark said, you light the fire, you put the fire back out, you don't smoke up everybody's suits, because now you got to clean them. Now you almost have to have 2 pieces of turnout gear versus the one that you used to have. So I just know there's other expenses that may lead to the natural being cheaper in the long run.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion over that. When you have those type of facilities, as you're talking about a Class A or a Class B facility is what the fire service calls it. And there are opinions about that across the board. But my personal opinion, working for the fire academy on a regular basis, you don't get the same training atmosphere when you use propane as you do when you use pallets. Okay. Yeah, that's my opinion.
I'm not a fireman. I'm gonna let y'all make your own decisions on that, but.
So, my question is, do we need to do anything tonight so that these folks know that we are officially moving forward or something? I mean, that's what we were asked, right?
I would say yes. I mean, y'all had this discussion. I think you are all in agreement, and they're wanting a formal vote from you guys on if you want to do a formal commitment.
I'm gonna have to turn to
There's
council.
4 things that they're asking for, like I had mentioned on page 2. So it's the funding, it's the acreage amount, it's for county staff to put together the procurement process, and for county staff, more so the water department, to construct the water line to the facility, where they're going to put the facility.
I mean, there's a lot to be determined, but it's just for the commitment.
I was talking to Butch a little bit earlier today. I guess when we get into the operational cost of the building, all that will go into the governmental agreement. There was just some more questions that we had floating around on specifics on how the building was ran, operational costs, who's in charge of the building, who has keys, that kind of thing. And my suggestion to Butch was in the IGA, all that will be listed out specifically, how that building will be used. So 10 or 15 years from now, they know how to use it.
So what I'd like to do, and I'll refer to council on this, is I think tonight, if we choose to make a motion tonight, we need to make the motion as it stands budgeted, because that's the budget that we have adopted. And if I'll ask for a motion to approve the $1 million, But we can always, at any point in time, we can choose to increase that as long as there's a legitimate cause, and we would just have to amend our budget. But as of right now, I think the $1 million, because we're gonna, and we may get lucky. We may come in at 900, and that's including the extra building. We don't know. It's all good estimates, but we don't know what the economy's gonna do. The building prices go down 12 months from now, who knows? Concrete goes down 12 months from now, who knows? Goes up, who knows? But we can amend that difference. But I'd like to give you a hard commitment tonight of the $1 million which we budgeted, and then we'll play it by ear after that.
So.
And is that what you recommend?
Yeah, that's right, I agree.
All right, so if I make a motion that we allocate a minimum of 2.5 acres of Madison County owned property to be determined.
Yeah,
Right?
you can do that.
We direct the Madison County staff to work with the MCVFFA leadership team to procure the appropriate material service contracts needed to facilitate and complete construction. And number 4, direct the MC staff to work with the leadership to procure the appropriate materials and construct a water line to the facility, and that we will, Madison County will appropriate funding of the amount of $1 million.
Yeah, up to $1 million.
Up to $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be on actual cost, and you may need to, that could go up or down.
Up or down. So, that's the motion.
Second.
You say second?
Mm-hmm.
I did. I do it quicker than I thought. I was surprised. I was going to say, I have a motion by Commissioner Kirk, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Oh, and, you may want to include in that motion, I'm sorry, that it is coming from the office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be designated for market.
Yep.
No, we can't because it's already been transferred to the general.
Oh, that's already, okay,
Yeah, right.
never mind, I'm sorry, you're right.
The original source was.
From the original.
Correct,
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay.
for wording purposes.
There you go.
You're right.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Kirk, have a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion?
Can, after we vote in, I assume you have some documentation of additional estimates on the structure, the Connex structure.
We have a quote. Yeah, we have a quote.
Would y'all turn those over to?
Sure. I think she
Chris,
yeah, they are, yeah.
And then if it's gonna take 8 to 10 months to get this thing, then we can go ahead and place an order and at least ways be in the line to get it. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, to place an order is 25% upfront.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
I'll read it. Yeah, customers will be invoiced 25%.
That's all staff administration stuff right there.
I can do that.
So, any
We're
other
gonna have to look
discussion?
at procurement methods too, to
Yeah.
make sure we can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that was all.
That's administration too.
Well, that was all included in your motion.
That's right, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
We got a lot to do.
Any other discussion? One more discussion, because I gotta say it. This is probably one of the proudest moments that I've set up here at this table, to see this facilitated to the people of Madison County. And for people like you to skip 50 years, 20 years, 30 years, 20 years of your dedicated time.
Me too.
I didn't mean to.
This is good.
It's been a long time coming. Derek Gosser, it's on you, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you, sir, thank you. Thank you all. Call if you need any questions, please.
Thank you for your hard work. I forgot to send it to
Thank
you.
you.
No, he was right. Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
Well, that sounds like we probably done something.
We've done a whole lot right, guys. We have.
I really say it, but I'm not, it makes me feel good about tonight.
Yeah. Man, that's good stuff. All right, so we're gonna try to get through the rest of this, I promise. Chairman's report. County staff and other volunteers throughout the county are currently working on 5-year renewal of a hazardous mitigation plan. We have our next meeting, I think it's
This one.
Wednesday. The room is completely full of people the first time ever we've had a full house in doing this. I'm really proud to see the participation in that hazardous investigation grant. The BOC will be hosting American Red Cross for Blood Drive October 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the public meeting room at the Government Complex. Please contact Tracy Dake, Human Resource Director, to schedule your appointment if you'd like to come by. Madison County will have our 2023 Fall Tire Amnesty program October 4th through November 4th. Residents can take their unwanted tires to the transfer station on Wednesday through Thursday and Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. to be recycled. This event is hosted by the Keep Madison County Clean and Beautiful program. The third annual Halloween in the Park will be October 27th at Sammy Haggard Park from 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Madison County Board of Commissioners Office recently initiated an appeal of the 2022 ratio study by the Georgia Department of Audit and Accounts. The appeal resulted in our overall ratio increasing by 1.72%. We were rated at a 33.01, and now we are at 34.73, and really what that means is we're going to get 1.72 more percent off the utilities than what they have to pay into the county. We appealed this along with 119 counties out of 159 in Georgia. So, I'm glad they at least recognized it needed to be increased. Last Thursday, county staff and 2 commissioners met with Chamber of Commerce and UGA Archway Partnership Program to meet and discuss a connected resilience community program to establish an economic development strategy plan for Madison County. That plan will be underway in the coming months. The 75th anniversary of the Madison County Agricultural Fair starts September 26th through September 30th, 2023. Excited about this one because it's brand new. After all these years, there is a new provider doing the fair. It's no longer the James Gang, I want y'all to know. It's a company out of Florida. James Gang basically COVID wiped them out too. They have no staff. They're primarily on the west side of Alabama. We contracted with a company that does a lot of the larger cities here, Smyrna, some of those. So I'm excited to see what they have. Last but not least, I'm asking for the public, if they have any knowledge of this or have seen anything. Last week, the road department had a skid steer stolen off Lem Edwards Road. We want the public to be aware of their personal equipment in that area. If you have any information or may have saw something, please reach out to the Madison County Sheriff's Office and Michael Moore. I'm going to back up just for a second. We are going to try to have inmates available. We're working with Michael Moore now for the tire amnesty for the elderly that may be bringing in tires to be able to help them. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question about the tire amnesty?
Yes, ma'am.
Can tractor tires be turned in?
Nothing over 36 inches.
Okay, thank you.
Because the last time I tried, if I cut them up into small enough pieces, that's a job.
Yeah, I think that the biggest reason of that is because of the weight.
Sure.
We have to hand load them.
Right, no, I understand.
So we can't cut them up.
They allow me to.
So that means they'll allow you to too. Just use small pieces, please.
Well, that's a job, I'll tell you.
If you don't, just change your last name to Chandler.
All right, statements and remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda.
Hello.
Hey.
My name is Ruth Ann Stefanovic, and I live at Highway 172 in Culver, and I'm going to speak on agenda item 9. First of all, thank the board for consideration of a support letter to change the designated use from fishing to recreation on the south fork of the Broad River that flows through Watsonville Bridge State Park. I appreciate your thoughtful questions and comments at the presentation I made at the planning meeting earlier this month. This Saturday was your State Park Day, and I was at Watsonville Bridge State Park with a group of volunteers. We were brushing underneath the old steel bridge that goes over Clouds Creek, just not too far upstream from where it conflues with the South Fork is. And there was a 10-year-old volunteer there, as the youngest, and an 87-year-old woman working there. And as I left the park, there were hundreds of people at the park, using the park. The parking lots were full. So, the recreation designation will set higher water quality standard goals. It will acknowledge that this segment of the river is used by thousands of people every year for recreation, which includes swimming, and it should offer greater protection for the river for future generations. So this is an Environmental Protection Division process, and letters of support from the community and local governments are very important in their consideration. So I'm hoping you will give us a letter of support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other statements or remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda?
Okay. I'll be quick, but, I'm Catherine Stinson, and, I second Ruth Ann's request. I'm a member of the Ripple Beetles. We're a Georgia Adopt-A-Stream group, part of the Georgia APD. I'm also a member of the board of the Broad River Watershed Association. Both of our organizations are writing letters to support changing from fishing to recreation there on that section. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Melissa Tufts. I spoke with y'all last March about the river, and I just want you to support this. It's a great, great thing. Our shoals are the jewel in our crown, I think. And I don't think we have a free public pool, do we, in our county? Not that I know of. But an entire family can spend $5 and be in that water all day long, and that is such a treasure. To use the outfitters, it's between, I think, $12 and $30 a person. So this is a fabulous, fabulous opportunity for fun and education. When you're playing in those shoals, you're playing in history. So hope y'all will support us.
Thank you, Emma. Anyone else?
Hey.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good. I'm Dave Ransdale from District 1. I wanted to let you know that I support the designated use authorization, and there are reasons why I do. I'm a member of the Madison Oglethorpe Stream Team, and so we collect data, monitor the streams in the Beaver Dam stream area, and also around the park. The water quality is good now. We like to keep it that way. And I also think it would be good if we had this designation, because it would be a potential economic benefit to the towns around the area and also for the county.
Thank you, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm David Vogel from District 3, and I'm going to spare you my comments because I think you're going to do it.
Appreciate your optimism, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Cheryl Adams, and a citizen of Madison County, and I would love to see the Board of Commissioners support the designated use change for Watson Mill State Park. I played there as a child, and my great-grandchildren are playing there now, and hopefully many more children will get to play in the river, and I just think it's a great idea.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to cut me off. I promise. I was doing my best.
I'm just looking forward to a couple of minutes to support unanimously, supporting this resolution.
Don't talk us out of this, truck.
I've been away for a while. But I'm glad to see you're all happy. The other thing I want to take this opportunity as co-chair of the Madison County Clean Power Coalition to thank Ruth Ann for the work she put in the dots or the I's and the T's crossed to get it this far. It still has a way to go, but your support will do a lot to get it through the next bunch of hoops. And again, Ruth Ann has done an amazing amount of work, so thank you for supporting this motion.
Thank you. And you're right, she's done a great job.
Did I miss something, Marcus?
I didn't hear you.
I said, did I miss something?
No. All right. Number 7, public hearing. Consider approving beer and wine license for Family Dollar. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion for this one.
Open comment.
Yeah, open for comments. Anyone here to speak in favor of, anyone here to speak in opposition of?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say no because I thought it was, trying to bring liquor in, but
No, it's not.
I
We'll
understand.
see this one actually again in just a couple months, believe it or not. But anyway, all right, we'll close it, we'll bring it back before the board. Then we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Adams, on you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Item 8, consider awarding request for proposal for the Recreation Department Master Plan. Ms. Shelley, come on.
So the Recreation Department and the Recreation Board met last week and discussed the proposal, the top two that we had selected for our Recreation Master Plan. And I submitted a letter to y'all that the Recreation Board is in favor of going with Smith Planning Group, just as we had originally recommended.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Palmer?
I told you their, contract is $100,000.
Correct.
That was not the highest. One that was 120.
There was one that was higher, yes.
124, I think, wasn't it?
It was quite a lot higher. But we're hoping that by meeting with them, if approved, that by meeting with them, that we are able to negotiate that cost, seeing that some of the work has already been done with the county government.
Okay, so it'll be up.
Contract, we need to approve. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, well, the next, I don't know if we can get the contract ready by October the 2nd, Mike, or if we need to set it to end of October to sign the contract. So the board will just award tonight, and they'll bring a contract back before the board with the $100,000.
You said October 31st for the agreement to be prepared by.
Yes,
Okay.
so then we would bring it in November to give us a month.
Or would this be considered professional services and it's handled in the chairman's office?
No.
No, I mean,
Under $100,000.
Right,
99,999. Can't go over.
right, that's right. So, so yeah, did they come back, do they have a hard number in there?
Yes.
Okay,
$100,000
so we know the number, okay, but you're gonna work on negotiating
Yes.
some of them on that?
The time frame as well was for 1 year, and we think we can accomplish this within 9 months.
Okay, so, yeah, I think all we're doing tonight is just going forward with the negotiation with the finalists then. And then you'll have a contract for approval, what you say, in November or October?
Yeah, hopefully we'll have
Yeah.
everything by the end of October.
Yeah,
For the
October
November.
31st, we need a hard number, so we can send it out to everybody after the negotiated rate. But it is, again, this was one that we budgeted up to that number, so I'm glad we were able to stay at it or under it. So thank you for doing such a good job doing this. You and Christina both worked hard on doing this. And actually, there's a lot of people, everything we do, there's a lot of hands in, I promise.
so yeah, so if it's coming back, we don't really have to have a vote tonight, but if you want to have a motion, it would just be to authorize negotiations with this company as a finalist.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we authorize staff to enter into negotiations with the best parent, award contract value, Smith Planning Group, and move forward with those final negotiations for a final contract basis.
Second.
Perfect. Motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Thank you for taking it back to the board, that just keeps that people together.
And
All right.
everybody ready?
Mr. Chandler?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good job.
And I'm rocking the 1996 Reindeer Run shirt. So, this is our 30th year, so please tell everybody it's fun.
Yes, Shelley, I need to, also say something on behalf of the, I think, 9 counties that attended, maybe more than 9, that, at the rec department this past Saturday, the cross-country event. Nothing, but positive comment on how good the maintenance crew's done getting the track, get all the wood areas ready for those kids to run. We hosted everything from, I think, 5-year-old all the way up to 18-year-old. but people just kept coming up. I wore the wrong shirt, it said Madison County Board of Commissioners, and they were just bragging about how our rec department not only facilitated, how on time, but everything was just perfect, weather was perfect, but you guys done an amazing job, please let them know.
Yes, they're awesome.
Guys and girls.
Yes, we couldn't do what we do without them.
We are very blessed right now. Thank you. All right. The long-awaited, consider a letter of support for designation, the use change of a portion of the South Fork Broad River, initiated by the Madison County Clean Power Coalition.
This was a sample letter that you sent to us.
Yep.
That will be the letter that I give you.
This is the original, by the way. Or it was printed color one or the other.
We're gonna use that letter, then,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that the letter previously presented be utilized to show support for the change in designation from fishing to recreation.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, a second by Commissioner Kurt. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Have your support.
Hearing none, Frank, it's on you.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yay.
I'll just get with you tomorrow. I'll scan you and sign the letter tomorrow. Thank you. Scan's about lunch, though. Yeah, the rest of the week.
Consider the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Isla for administration and enforcement of solid waste provisions and an intergovernmental agreement for municipal court services. Gentlemen, this has been vetted through all parties.
Yep. And, Judge Patrick already signed his part on it, too.
We'll entertain a motion.
For this intergovernmental agreement, we approve this proceeding.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Doster. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Kirk.
Yes.
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 Yeah. There you go. And we're so lucky to have good mayors. Mike Cole, it's a pleasure to be with you. He really is. Consider the participation agreement with Athens Regional Library. I think this has.
I made copies, that's what you're looking for, they're on.
Oh, good,
They're on
okay.
the copier, because I got it at 4:30.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's when I heard back.
Yeah, so that's, we talked about this earlier, we just didn't get the rebuttal information back in an appropriate amount of time to present it to the board. So Mike and I kind of discussed a little bit. There's several options moving forward with this agreement. The original contract that was presented was then changed at the meeting. They gave us another option. The attorney for the library has suggested either we move forward with no agreement, or if the board has a very specific agreement with a budget, discussing that, what the funds are specifically used for.
Yeah. And frankly, I thought maybe, or Christina, I thought maybe we just sort of get a sense from y'all of what you're looking for with this. I think, from what they're saying, other counties and this county up until now has basically just budgeted an amount without an agreement. It's just an amount every year. I think that my advice would be that the two draft agreements they presented to us are kind of non-starters. They're not very helpful to anybody. So I think what you're looking for is, do you want to just appropriate an amount? And part of what we got late today and that you have there is some financial information they gave you. I think probably some of it's just from us. But do you want more financial information? Do you want to, before we talk about whether we need an agreement, or do we want to talk about a contract and what should be in it?
Financial information is what I got asked for.
That's what you were looking for.
And I have that, it's just on the copier.
Yeah.
So this is a red line copy that we have on the copier now.
No.
No.
It's not a red line copy.
No,
This
what
was for the red line that
Okay.
2 or 3 months ago when we first discussed this.
Yeah, the agreement had some problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I don't think there's enough there to red line. So what we got today is actually, this is, I think, from us. Is this from
I
our?
think, Miss, I think you sent it to us, just the budgeted, what the breakdown of the budget was.
Yeah. Yeah, this is sort of some rough categories of how the county's contribution for this year from January 1 through 8/31 has been spent. Income statement, unposted transactions included for Athens Regional Library System, code 103. Is that ours or is that from ARS?
Code 103 is just our code for the Madison County Library.
Okay.
That's what 103 means for us.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just the way our new software does that.
Okay. So we have this that you'll get, and then I think, according to the attorney, our contribution for this year would roughly be $240,000. 16,000 of that goes to the regional system, and he sent a line sheet of how that 16,000 gets spent.
Yes.
Then you have this for the other.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we just get you a copy of it, and let's just table this tonight, and then we'll put it back on the agenda for next Monday night, if we got a meeting next Monday night.
I don't know if we're gonna be ready by next Monday night.
Okay.
To have it back to us, what y'all want.
Okay.
I don't think I can get that ready with my.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I think we gotta give y'all a chance to look at.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, and then maybe tell us next
Still
week
ain't
where you wanna
far
go from there.
We'll just handle it we'll handle it, last meeting in October. All right. So, I have a motion to table till I don't know the exact date in October.
The regular business meeting.
Yeah. So around 25th.
But can we still have it on the agenda for next week to get your feedback on this financial stuff?
I think that would be best for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
What day was that? 30th? Okay. So, gentlemen, I entertain a motion to table till, well, we don't even have to do that. You don't have to have a motion to table.
No, we don't have to.
We do not.
Is it a consider tonight or a discussion?
Yeah, it was a consideration.
Oh, yeah, so we probably do need a motion to, postpone it until the next meeting.
That'll be fine.
And put it on that as a discussion item.
I make a motion to postpone until the next meeting.
October 30th. Have a motion by Commissioner Kurt, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Dennis, on you, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Whether it was a yes or no.
All right. Consider renewing the contract with UGA Extension Office. So this one is, I think, we have all the information we need on this. It's basically, do we want to include that one line item? We know we want to include the 4-H. We know we want to include the ag services, and this will be for the tax agent. If we choose not to do the tax agent, then we'll just have to change the allocation total to remove the tax agent. If we do not, then we'll just agree to adopt the budgeted amount total.
I move we approve this contract as presented. It does include the fax agent. I do make some requests along with that. Again, this is because of some unknowns that we have a familiarity with that and how the value is to us. And we like quarterly reports from Extension, but particularly highlighting the fax position with who it targets, who it serves, the benefit that we get from it, and then we'll make probably a pretty critical review at the end of this coming year, whether we decide this value is important enough to the people of Madison County to extend it.
I second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, I have a second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Yeah, a report similar to what our librarian does would be really helpful. You know, how many people you serve, you know, what the services were, that type of thing, please. And it's just so that we have some idea how we're spending the county's money.
Honest, I don't get a vote, but I want to make a statement. I'm a little concerned, not about the position, not about the dollar figures, but if you have to hire somebody on a 6-year contract and next year, well, you're saying we're going to do this quarterly, we may back out. I don't know how that would affect y'all, but y'all said you're prepared for that if a county backs out, right?
On a quarterly basis?
No, not on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
Not on a quarterly basis, yearly basis.
On an annual basis?
Yeah. Okay, I just wanna make sure, cause I think that's sort of, we're gonna, like, lead up to it and make sure this is what we want. And I didn't want it to mess up an employee that you go out and hire tomorrow, and then if we do something different, we're just trying not to set that situation up. Okay, as long as you're good with it. Thank you. So I have a first and a second. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
I'd just like to remind people that we get basically a 3-to-1, 4-to-1 on the dollar amount. So I have faith that the reports will bring back and be truthful, and we can put that discussion to bed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for those comments, Commissioner Doster. Hearing no other comment?
Yes.
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 Consider appointing Trista Gunnels to the Library Board of Trustees. Hi, Ms. Gunnels. I'm proud you back row Baptist stayed up late tonight to get us through all this.
Okay.
A little bit of background, maybe?
Sure. Trista has is a friend of mine, and we've talked at length about her participation, her family's participation in Madison County and in the library, and we've had a vacant position since last year, and so I asked if she would be interested, and she was. I am. And so now we bring her in front of you all to see if that's.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being willing. So with that being said, gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Kurtz. Second motion. Second by Commissioner Chalmers. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Thank you. Commissioner Adams requested an explanation of your ties into the Gunnels family.
I'm married to JJ, so Johnny's son.
Yeah. Okay, I know none of that crowd, ready to sleep.
I'm trying to get involved.
Hey, she's saving them from that.
That's right.
I think she can work with Johnny, I don't know about Greg.
Yeah, it might be a lost cause.
If Commissioner Kirk would have worked with the Gunnels 3 more months, he would have become an official Gunnels.
That's right.
I would have.
My son's working on it right now.
I had to leave so I could go learn how to read.
All right, gentlemen, road updates. Anybody have any
Yes.
more vote? I thought we did. So I had a first and a second?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank
What you signed up for yet? Go ahead.
Or your family has to have library cards.
Come on now. All right, man, I'm just happy to be here tonight. Road updates. Anybody have anything?
I've got a couple things, one primarily in Veterans Drive and some concerns there. I've talked to them already. Need some improvement there.
Veterans Drive. Oh, it was took care of, Wednesday. We also assisted with the city of Danielsville replacing the pipe on the city limit side of Veterans Drive. Took it out, put it back in a day. We also assisted with a patch up there on Crawford W. Long, a little dip in the road. Anyway, go ahead, then I'll go to mine. Dennis, yes?
Sent in a thing, was it Red Oak?
Yep.
Road, about trimming the underbrush or down, looking back towards Highway 98. And also, we had a request, to speak with the folks that would be on the northwest side of, Cloud Hollow Road and the Sanford Road intersection, where the Leland Cypress blocked the view coming from that direction. So it'll probably take some conversation with the Thomas family on what we can do to trim those up.
All right, thank you, sir. The only one I've heard about, one I've queued up there now, great. Commissioner Kirk?
I'm good right now.
Commissioner Doss?
Do we have a status of paving on previous round of colored patches that's been, that were replaced and set up, and we're ready to pave?
We have half of those paved already.
Home and Archery done.
Home and Archery's done, there's several done. Crystal Creek or something like that, I don't remember, it got done. Home and Archery got done. Timber Lane is being worked on, but yes, the patching, I would say that they're probably gonna wrap up by the end of the week for that second round of patching for like O-Bend, and O-Bend's done, as a matter of fact, over there on your way. Really shocked on that one. They knocked out just about all the patching in one day, or 2 days, sorry. But there's still a few more to go. A lot of compliments on that, and actually you could tell around the table because of the amount, we all know traveling county roads every day, what's out there, but when these guys can't report a whole lot, that means we're doing something right. So, thank you. Glen Miller's second box culvert was installed on September 7th. The head walls was finished on the 15th. We normally have to wait 10 to 15 days before we can backfill those, let those cure out. Road maintenance crews have completed 70% of the dirt road scrapings. Once that's been completed, the crews will return to Old Royston Road to complete that project because Alltel, our Windstream, now has moved the fiber so we can complete it. That's been the holdup the whole time. But anyway, they got it out of our way, now they're waiting on us. The sidearm mowing crew is in Harrison area, and the sidearm mulcher is on Moons Grove Road. Pretty excited about that because both of them have been tore up for 3 months. So we didn't forget about you, but we finally got them both running. Roadside mowing crews is on Cherokee Road, starting in the East Commerce area. All About Asphalt has begun the patching pipe replacement for the 8 sections. Asphalt paving system completed Bryce Landing will be micro paving Booger Hill and Moons Grove areas this week. That's really all I have on that. Before I turn it over to Derek Doster. I know, I think there's something else, yeah. Statements and remarks from citizens.
I'll make this quick. Months ago, and I appreciate what the board did on the noise ordinance, the Arpeggio, then we got the proposal back, and it was up for review. We took public comments, and then it was, I think, going to be sent back to Arpeggio. But I haven't heard a thing about this noise ordinance since then, and time's going on. So I was just looking for an update, like what's happening with the ordinance. It's about most important to all of us to have a good noise ordinance in place. And I'd like to know, did we get something back from Arpeggio again with the public comment considered, or just where it stands right now? So that's my question for the entire board, or maybe at the next work session or at the next meeting, an update on the noise ordinance would be a good thing to have. So that's really all I have to say. And thanks again, it's good to see you all.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Statements, remarks from commissioners.
Just one thing, our ask, gun season for deer hunting is opening up, and it's either sex every day this year. Would it be possible or appropriate for us to open up the small animal burial opportunity for people who do their own cut up to dispose of deer carcasses rather than they end up on the side of the road somewhere?
I think they're welcome to do that anytime.
Yeah,
The transfer station's open.
Yeah, but just make it. Our policy is they take anything up to 150 pounds. That's correct. Which obviously would take any deer carcass. We just need to make sure that folks know that that's available to them, and hopefully they take advantage of that free service as opposed to disposing on the side of the road.
With the wild dog, feral cat population, and obviously the hog population, that's a great idea, Commissioner Chandler. Any other remarks from commissioners? I have one. Thank you, board. Thank you, BOC board, for what you've done tonight for our local firemen. Hats off. Urgent matters. Executive session, discuss real estate acquisitions, personal matters, potential litigation. Sir?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Doster?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
All right. Very good.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Right.
We're talking about it an hour ago.
All those guys.
I'll call Dan tomorrow.